Welcome, y'all. I am Baron Baptiste. Welcome to Disrupt the Drift. This is a place where we can tell the truth and the truth can be told. Today, we want to talk about how your mindset shapes reality. Yeah, your mind, how you see life, your view of life, your outlook, your point of view, how things occur to you, or how people and things show up for you in your view, your outlook shapes reality and the reality in which you live, your world and in the world. David, what's your take on that? Your mindset shaping, forming your reality.
Have you ever thought that every single thing that happens in life can be a test? And it's like when we were in school, you would learn to the test. In other words, that's how you would find out how much you retained, right? And whether or not it made sense to you. And your mindset is one of either learning from every experience in life or missing the point. And that's that old adage that goes back to doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome or result is a definition of insanity. So a lot of people do the same things over and over again. But then when things don't change, they scratch their heads and say, why isn't everything getting better? Why am I not moving in the direction I want to move? So then if you reorient yourself, you know how when your computer bogs down, what's the first thing you do? You try to reboot it. Or you hit the power button, you turn it off, you turn it back on. I think we all need a reboot in the sense that we need to step back and realize that we can get something out of every single experience if we are willing and if we choose to.
Yeah. Yeah. It occurs to me like how you see determines what, and we all have filters. We have, it's like wearing a pair of glasses. When you're really wearing glasses, you forget that you're wearing them. You forget that you have them on your face, or like contact lenses. At a certain point, you forget you're wearing them and you're just seeing through them as it's natural. It's an extension. It gives you your vision. But I think we all have those kind of lenses, but our lenses are colored. Maybe of a yellow lens or a purple lens or a blue lens or some kind of tainted lens through which life and others and maybe certain kinds of people you have a certain lens for. Maybe your mom, your dad, siblings, a boss, certain people, friends, certain people you have a certain view of, you have a certain lens for. Politicians, you have one lens for if they're your party. And then but we're not aware that, and it's become this kind of tainted vision, this colored vision has become just like how it is. It's just become normal. And what does it take to take off those lenses? I think the first step is awareness that maybe I'm wearing lenses. Maybe I have these tainted lens and a colored view of life and of people, and that applies to yourself. You have a colored lens toward yourself. If you look at judgments if you have fixed views of yourself, fixed views of life, just how life is, how things are, you have a fixed view. And so consider you're wearing a colored lens. And the first step is probably just the awareness or even the curiosity, the questioning, to just start wondering, are my lenses colored? Like, why do I have all this judgment toward myself or toward others or toward life? Things aren't fixed in life. In reality, life is organic, not linear, not fixed. And when things and people and life is fixed, they become objectified. But in reality, life's happening now, and it's happening right now, and it's happening right now. And the question is, do you have the clarity, a clear lens to see life as it is, and maybe as it isn't?
So we were talking about some of these different topics to touch on today, and there's so many. But one of those was about habits. Okay. And a habit, and you have always pointed out that, first you have your habits and then your habits form you. And so the word habit is interesting. It means to dwell, reside, and or to dwell in. It's a place where you stick, and it's a place where you stay, to remain. And so again, if we're gonna allow our habits, we're gonna form our habits, and our habits are gonna form us. And then the question is, where do those habits get formed? And it's interesting to note that superstition is one of those things that people acquire from experiences. So, for example, you don't want to. I saw a black cat today when I was walking, and I walked right past the black cat. Now, do I believe that if you walk past a black cat on the 13th, that something terrible is going to happen or whatever? No, I don't. I've never been a superstitious person. Now, I know people that really are superstitious. That is their mind forming their view of reality. And those superstitions are about expectations. And so expectations are about what? Predictability. And so you go right back to the idea that you're dwelling and you're staying, and it's habitual. And is it advancing anything for you in your life? And the answer is probably no. Because if you live your life around cliches and superstitions and beliefs about things in order for you to be comfortable and think that that it's actually the lack of knowing, it's the lack of awareness, it's the lack of understanding that is actually shaping your life. Not the things that you know that are the problem necessarily, but what you don't know, what you haven't discovered, what you haven't reached out to find out.
That will require a shift in vision.
Yes.
A shift in view. It reminds me in my yoga and leadership programs, trainings, boot camps, I usually start out in the first day saying what this training or program is about. It's not about changing how a person sees things. It's really about changing the person who sees and from where they see. Because again, the view that you are, let's call it an are, not that you have, because your view, an unconscious view, or is just something you are. It gives you how life shows up for you. And so I like what you're saying. It's like the shifting of where you stand, the shifting of your vision, and how life occurs to you, how life's showing up for you is really the transformation there. It's not the just changing how you see things. Maybe there's one person in your life where you see you have a lot of judgment and you're holding a sword over them. They did something they shouldn't have done, or they didn't do something they should have done, something like that. And you can go to work with, okay, I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to shift how I'm perceiving them or seeing them. But that's still fixing things. It's what's needed is a deeper fundamental shift in your being in life, being with life, which gives a fundamental shift in your view and how life occurs for you, how people show up for you. So it's not just, I love this person, I hate that one. It's a bigger view. If you're really who you are, if you say who you are is someone who's for love, compassion, empathy, care for others, if you say that, well, that in a way that means for all. And to have your view come from and be consistent with who you say you are, who you truly are. And if you're of love, that will be your view. And from where you see how life and people show up in it for you, they could be someone who just annoys the heck out of you, or someone that works for you or works with you, and they're not showing up and performing in the way they should be. Now, you can come from judgment. They smell that. They feel that. It wears away at you, exhausts you. But you could have a different view a bigger view that sees, okay, this person is showing up, they're annoying, that's just how they're wired. And you come from love, or they're not doing their job properly. Now you but if you're coming from a view that where people show up as just a possibility, you still can recognize their potential. They may not be, I'm not talking about pure evil people, right? But someone that is just annoying, or they're not doing what they should be doing, they're not being responsible. You have a view from where you're coming from, which it starts forming your reality, because now you're coming from love, which gives you a different sense of yourself, your confidence, your being consistent with who you say you are and who you're committed to being and becoming in life. But consider it is shaped in from that, we're calling it mindset here, or your view, your outlook. But your outlook fundamentally gives you who you're being with life, and how life shows up for you, and how you're relating to life and the people, places, things in life.
When you talk about love, I believe that the Greeks had 4 different words that described love. Eros was sensual love. I don't know, agape, which was the godly love. When you talk about love, it has a lot to do with the kind of love we're talking about, because there are all kinds of loves. People love food. People love their pets, which I think is funny because pets are unconditional. They'll lick your face no matter whether you've screamed at them. They'll look at you, and you could be as mean as you want to your pet, and it'll always come back and give you one of those funny pet smiles. But love is a verb, and that is an action word. It means to do something. Now, the question is it the kind of love that is self-serving love, or is it a serving kind of love where you do things for other people? It's like the word stress. It's a ubiquitous use word. I love ice cream. Joe Biden loves ice cream. I don't know. But I want to say, I was looking up the meaning of love, and it is one of those words that has a lot of descriptors to it. But what I wanted to say is, how are we looking?
It's demonstrative. At the end of the day, love is demonstrative.
Right.
And
by the way,
there's a lot of cheap talk around love.
There is.
And then there are a lot of people that talk a big talk about love, but then they still resent their mom, or they resent their partner.
Of course.
Used to see that with yoga teachers a lot. I'd get these kind of bitter, angry, resentful people that I was training to teach yoga. I'm like, wait, there's something inconsistent here, because now you're going to show up to a yoga class and you're preaching peace and calmness and equanimity, and there's something, you're not consistent with who you're presenting yourself to be in the world. There's something about living true. And it begins again with the awareness of where you're not being true, where you're not being authentic, and you start getting authentic about where you're being inauthentic. And your fundamental view, because it's more than just fixing or figuring it out or getting rid of something. We're talking about here of completely like shifting, transforming your view of life, and therefore how life shows up for you, and relating to life moment to moment as it's arising. And now you're relating to people not from a prejudiced lens or a predictable lens, because you already have your history with that person and you know how that person is, or what they did, or how they betrayed you, or you're not seeing them through the tainted colored lens of the past. You're in the present moment, and you're interacting with reality from right here. Nothing between you and them. You're seeing through a clear lens, a clear vision. It's interesting. There's a Sanskrit word, samadhi. It gets thrown around a lot in yoga. But it's actually a beautiful word. It means to see without color, to see without color, without taintedness, to see with it just to see clearly. You see what's so. You see things as they are, not as you knew them to be, or think they should be, or think they are. I think it was Goethe, the philosopher Goethe said, you don't see things as they are, you see things as you are. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about another aspect of love, which is what's in the Bible about no greater love has a person to lay down their life for another, right? So if you take a look at, and again, your mindset shapes your reality. And so there are people thinking about, we just had 9/11, people, the first responders who ran into the falling 9/11 buildings to try
We
to
just had
save people.
the anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah, the anniversary, yeah.
Yeah.
And it literally, it brings a tear to your eye to see these people running toward the destruction.
Yeah.
And your mindset is so powerful. It's more powerful than even anything that we can imagine, because it does shape your reality. But then the question is, what is at the core of that? In other words, if you are a person who wants to live your life to make a difference, first of all, you have to define what difference you're going to make. Are you going to be the best concert pianist? Are you going to be the fastest race car driver? The love of the things that you do is fueled by a motivation. Okay, and the motivation shapes your life and your reality, and it shapes the future. See what I'm saying? And so this part of your mindset, whatever it may be, if it's the love of a person, that shapes your mindset and it shapes the truth about your life, whatever it may be. You look for opportunities to give flowers, and you're always looking for opportunities to do something nice for somebody that you love. The flip side of that is, if you really can't stand somebody, you're always looking for a way to trip them up. It all shapes your mindset. So then the question is, how do you get to the space where you can see what's best for your mind and for your life and for your future? And again, it comes back to what you and I talk about a lot, and that is objectivity. And creating a little bit of essential space every day to let go of all this pressure that's constantly pushing in on us, shoving us around, timelines and appointments, and the pressure to get this done and not miss your tennis appointment. And there's all kinds of things that cause us to begin to shape our reality around something. You pressure from your kids, from your spouse, from the government to pay your taxes. There's all kinds of pressure. So let's just say for a minute that we just removed all of that, all of it, every single bit of it. What would it feel like? Where would you be if you just removed every single bit of pressure and constraint and force and everything else? What would it feel like? And what it feels like is, it feels like relief. It feels like a moment where they show pictures of women getting into a bathtub and Olay, take me away. Remember those commercials? And it's a moment of release where you can actually.
I don't remember those, but they must have been old.
They've been around for a while. But really, if you want to start to and I said it in the beginning, reboot. Let's just, if you did a reboot a couple times a day, things would start to change.
Yeah.
You clear all the apps that are
change.
Running.
Yeah. State change.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I was sharing with you, sometimes in the middle of the day, I hit this like low energy point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll get in a cold immersion, just get in 40-degree water for 5 or 6 minutes. That shifts my state physically, but then mentally something clears as well. But meditation, just sit, get still, get quiet, get present. Get your mind located to where your body is. And notice, is your mind off? Has it drifted way off, far away from your body? Get present. Notice your thoughts. You have thoughts, or rather thoughts have you. You have emotions. Your emotions have you.
Yeah.
You've got these body sensations. They've now got you. You feel lethargic, tired, exhausted, whatever. But when you get present, you start seeing that when you get present and you bring these things into view, objectivity, you suddenly, you may have these thoughts, these emotions, this body and its sensations, but you're not those things. You're more than those things. You're not your body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You have those things. But again, that's a view, a shift in vision, because suddenly you should go from, I am all these thoughts and the burden of these thoughts. I am all these emotions. I am all these body sensations. You go from that to, okay, I have these things, but you have a much bigger scope to hold them in. Your view opens up, and now they're just things that are happening and in your space, but you're not just the content anymore. Of your life. You're now the context.
Yeah. You know what I do? One of my resets, which is very helpful to me anyway, is that I'll step back for a minute and I'll say, how much more time do I have in this life? So you can, if you're lucky, you can guess you got 10, 20, 30 years, 50 years, depending on what your age is. And then you begin to question what really matters. In other words, if somebody said you only have one day to live, what would you do with it? If you knew this was your last day and you're capable of doing anything you want to do, what would you do?
Yeah. And the truth is, we can't know if it's our last day, but it could be.
Yeah.
And to live from it. I'll tell you, for me, one quick thing is also like in the mornings, I may wake up feeling one way. If I wake up in my head, or I've just got grogginess or thoughts, or my head's cloudy, I pretty much 6-7 days a week, I meditate and like just spend calm, centering, getting centered, getting present. And then I'll move. There's nothing better, I'll tell you, than a hot, sweaty yoga practice, or get outside and walk and train your body, weights, get your heart pumping, sweat. To shift your state is, in a way, also gives you access to what is already here and available to you. Is that bigger, a shift in vision. And so you have to have habits that support you living from your center. And when you lose center, you're aware that something's just off. I'm off. And you can only know that it's off, or be aware that, I'm a little off. You can only have that awareness if you already have a sense of center. If you already have a sense of an outlook of life that's from center and from the ground of your being. If you don't have that sense of center, that's why you want to start meditating. That's why you want to start getting present, so that you locate center. And then when you're off center, you're off true north, you have an awareness of it, and you do the things you need to do to recover center. And the more you practice that, in my experience, the more you practice and you develop that muscle of recovering center, the more quickly you can recover it. You can recover it in a nanosecond. That may take some practice over time, but you first have to locate center and then be able to point to it when you're off center. And it's what's pointing to you being off center? Your center, the ground of your being, that inner still point.
Well,
you have to have that sense of true north. Yeah.
People take cues all the time from the world, starting with an alarm clock. My son sets an alarm clock. It goes off 6 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the cues. Then there are cues after that. And so I would like to suggest that you go and you make a paradigm shift from status quo to status no. Just first of all, just start saying no to all of the social media.
That's a disruption right there. Disrupting the drift.
No.
Yeah.
Just say not today. I'm not going to start my day today like that.
Yeah.
And then I want to introduce, so no is a 2-letter word. Status, no, forget it. I'm not going to turn on the TV. I'm not going to listen to the radio. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
anything. I'm just going to feel the moment. Now, here's the second part of it. Here's another 2-letter word for you. If. I want you to think if, because if is a realm of possibilities. So I just want to read some of Rudyard Kipling's poem,
Mhm.
If. I won't go too far, but here, I just want you to consider this. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or be lied about and don't deal in lies, or being hated but don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. Now you see,
That's good. That's
isn't that
good.
just,
Perfect
it's
place
so
to wrap up.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
can, it's not a matter of if you can do it, you can do it if you try. You
Yeah.
can change that reality by using that one word.
And go from try to do the thing. As Emerson said, do the thing and you will have the power.
Now you see,
All right, you all.
this is
Thank
what
you
I've
for
done.
listening. Yeah. Oh, it's upside down. This is your
Yep.
new book, David?
This is my new book. It just came out.
Nice.
Borderlands. And man, there's some great stuff in here. And a lot of the things we were talking about, hyperdimensionality and how your mind shapes your reality. It's all in
Very
my
cool.
new book, Borderlands.
Yeah.
And you can find that at my website at escapeyourmindsprison.com.
Yeah, good. All right. Check me out at baronbaptiste.com, you all. And please, if you're listening, share the show. If you're watching on YouTube, leave comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, leave a 5-star review on audio podcasts, will you? That helps us move up in the algorithms. And till next time, stay true, stay bold, keep disrupting the drift, keep shifting vision, keep recovering center. And until next time, peace be with you.